Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? Hello, hello, hello. Uh-oh. That's not right. There we go. Okay, here I am. Yeah, well, I wanted to do this really quick show tonight and talk a little bit about the actual channel. You guys are going to think I'm like wishy-washy or something. But I was thinking about... Oh, I got to turn that off. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I was thinking about changing the name of the channel only because it seems that I can't stay on topic of just squatchiness. And I had some ideas, like one of my ideas was changing it to maybe the chat zone. And then underneath, you have like playlists or categories. And in the categories, I could make the Squatch zone, the UFO zone, the alien zone, the ghost zone, extreme or extra special interview zone, or something like that. How's it going, David? I know I try to get on at the top of the hour, but things happen, and I couldn't do it. Hey, Willie Booger, the big and strange zone. Hey, there you go. Like, that's what I wanted to ask. And I'll probably let you guys get on there. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Mr. Odie, man. I'm sorry. I heard about you losing your milk and laundry soap. Sorry about that, man. Maybe the bus driver will find it for you. But yeah, oh, there goes my stream. Back to yellow. How's it going, Ivy and T Gray? But yeah, I wanted to come on, and then you guys could leave on like in the comments, maybe even in the chat. Like if you have, hi Kathleen. I have this idea that to change the name again. I know. Only I want it to be something you guys like. Like even chatting in the zone or something like that. But your ideas, put them in the comments of the ideas, and we'll chat it out. You know what I mean? We'll chat this name right out. We'll figure something out. Try the odds and end zone. The end zone. I don't know about the odds and end zone, Odie. But yeah. I'm sure that everybody has some really good ideas. And that's why I wanted to come on and bring it up. And then I had some other ideas on the stuff like like this thing right here, the walking stick and the flute and some of the other stuff people have sent me. Sunday, I'm gonna go out. Whoa. Sunday, I'm gonna go out squatching with one of my good friends, Adolf, and Adolf is one of the guys that's in the 101102, that was abducted in at 101102, and they did a little movie on it and stuff like that. And he's a really good friend, and so we're gonna. That's a pretty good Alan in the time zone, in every time zone, huh? That's pretty good. But I'm going to go out squatching on Sunday all day, and I'm going to take the flute, and I'm going to take the walking stick, and if I find some other things, there's boxes of stuff out here that you guys have sent me. I'm blown away. Okay, like I have to pinch myself and make sure I'm awake because it seems like a dream that I'm doing anything. Like it really does feel like a dream to me. And I don't even know how to act, really. all I can say is you guys are the best, and I really, really appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I love you guys. I love you guys, man. I really. But so Sunday, I'm going out squatching. So I'm going to take. Hi, Connie. How are you? How is everyone? I'm going to take the walking stick, the flute, and some other stuff that I have, and I'm going to use it on a squatch. Going out on a squatching adventure on Sunday. So, and then I'll put a picture. I'll have Adolf take pictures of me using it, or video or something of me using the actual walking stick and the flute and some stuff. I'll just have him take some snapshots, and then I think I'm gonna set up a camera on a tripod that shows Adolf taking my picture, because Adolf's pretty famous, a pretty famous abductee. Maybe not as famous as Travis Walton, but he should be. I mean, the alien left a handprint on his car, actually two handprints on his car, and they burned into the paint. And he buffed them out, and they came back on. How's it going, Bill Schaefer? How you doing, man? So he's like pretty famous his own self. So I'll have him take pictures of me using the everything, and then when what I think I'm gonna do, like, to sell it, even though I'm not good at coming up with names of a YouTube channel. One of my friends last night, I was chatting with him last night in Facebook, and he told me, that was a good idea. Go out, use the stuff, take a picture of it, maybe put a little paper saying where that we went squatching with it, like a letter of authenticity, and send that to whoever wins the item. And then I want you guys to, like, put in the chat again. Like, I was thinking about doing a show live again, where we'll just do an auction, and we'll pick a day, and we'll call it the auction day, and I'll just hold up the item, and then everybody can do the bidding if that's how you want to do it, or if there's another way to do it. I'm not sure, only it says I'm all good, but only the live stream is showing I'm in the yellow, and I don't know why that is. They have been working on the ATT has been working on my line for a couple of days, and I don't know what's up with that. It was green, everything's green, then all of a sudden it turns yellow. But that's a pretty good name. The Far Out Zones, pretty good. You guys have good ideas, and because it's gonna have zones, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna, I'm gonna break them up. Like, if we just talk only about Bigfoot that night, it'll go into the Bigfoot zone or Squatch zone. And if we talk about UFOs, it'll go in the UFO zone. If we talk ghosts, if it goes God, we'll be in the God zone, Yeah, lottery. Like, how would I do the lottery? You'll have to, like, maybe you guys could email me ideas on how to do something like that. Do a lottery. I'm not sure how to do it. I want to make it fair, and I want to give everybody the opportunity to win it, because I know there's only one item, and I want to give everybody a chance to a crack at it, because I know, like, and I think it means more to people if they do win it like that, like, instead of, you know what I mean. I could do like an eBay thing, and do it on an auction. Only then it's open to everyone, all around even people that don't tune in. And I want to make it like I could do that. Not sell tickets. Maybe I could. Hi, winner. Maybe I could like take all your names that's in the chat and or everyone that puts a comment under the video saying that they want to be in the drawing. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay, that maybe they'll do that. Is like I'll do a drawing, and everyone that puts a comment in the chat I'll put their name in a hat, and then I'll pull a name, and that's the one that wins the item. And maybe I could do. Only thing is that the only thing if I do that, like I don't know how to like see like I'm not sure. Maybe that won't work, huh? I don't know. I don't know how I would sell tickets to it for it. Like people are all over the place, like from coast to coast and across the ocean or the pond, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's people all over the place. I was looking at the demographics, and I mean, there's people in Spain watching, and France watching, and England, and Scotland, and all over the place, and I'm not sure how to make it fair for everyone to. I'm working on it. Only like that's some things everybody could the Enigma Zone. That's pretty good. Hi, Craig. That's a good one. You guys got me thinking. We'll have to take like votes. I'll pick out like all the names and then put them up, and everybody will vote on it and see which one wins. Because I was thinking the Squatch Zone doesn't really. It doesn't. I'm all over the place. You know what I mean? And I want to. I have a feeling that all your stories, everybody's stories that they have. I don't think everybody just has Bigfoot stories either. I think there's stories of everything. In fact, I was on the phone today with someone that has been trying to get a hold of me for probably a month or more, and he had quite the family is not included. Sorry. I can't do that because then it wouldn't be fair, really. I mean, I learned that in the casino when I was a marketing director and I did giveaways. I mean, it was easier there because I could just pass out tickets to everybody. Like if they use their player club card, they could go to the player club, put their card in, say they gambled this much, they get this many tickets. I could go to events and pass out tickets. But everybody would show up. Whoever showed up at the casino, I could just pull tickets and call numbers until there was a winner, I mean, it's a lot easier like that. But when everybody's all over them everywhere, I can't just invite them to my house and have a barbecue and, do something like that. So I don't know. I have to give it a little bit of thought or see if y'all has something, Hi, Barbara. How are you? But I learned I can't have family. It seems like it's rigged if the family wins. Even well, I guess not. I'm not really giving it away, so I just don't know. I don't think you guys could afford what probably is going to happen here, because I've been told by a few people they want it real bad, like that walking stick right there. They really want it. So, and a couple of them told me they're going to win. It's going to be theirs, because they want it. And especially if they find out I'm taking it squatching and going to have my picture taken using it. And I was even told when I do that, use it for reels in the dirt, and get dirt on the little rubber tip so that it's legit, with a camera showing me in the woods, walking with it. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I've sold a few shirts. I want to thank you guys for buying some shirts and some mugs and stuff. You guys are really helping me. I mean, it isn't a lot yet, but only I'm saving it all away. I'm not spending anything because I truly want to stop this yellow bar that I'm looking at saying that, my internet. I think it has a lot to do with my computer, and I'm pushing the envelope on how good the picture quality is. If the computer was better, I probably wouldn't be. I would probably be in the green on everything. But because computer's not as old, I actually built this computer. I'll show you. I built that computer um, in 2009, and then I used it for 5 years with Jeffrey. And I gotta make sure. Yeah, okay, that looks all right. Yeah, and what all I'm gonna do, I'm really not gonna buy a new computer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the stuff out of the computer and change it, like the motherboard, the CPU, the memory, and the video card, and the hard drive. Those 5 things. In fact, I was chatting with one of my friends last night, and he says, thank you, Barbara. He was telling me last night, maybe you should go cheaper. Well, if I go cheaper, I build computers for people all the time. If I go cheaper, then in 1 year, the technology will upgrade everything. YouTube will upgrade, everything will upgrade, and then I'll be doing the same thing I'm doing right now. So it's better to spend a little bit more and get a little bit higher quality grade processor and RAM and motherboard. That way, maybe in 6 years or 7 years, I'll have to worry about it. And I'm not talking about a whole lot of money more either. Maybe only a couple of hundred more than if I went the cheap route. Maybe 200 or 300 more, and I'm talking less than $1,000 to even do what I'm talking about and make it that good. Yeah, I mean it is like I don't need to buy a whole computer because I have the one I have is good. I just need to change the insides. That's all. I mean the power supply's good, the case is good, the everything else in it is good, but the other stuff is outdated. Like it was when they first came out with quad cores. And I mean, I bought a pretty good one. It cost me around $700. Still, it was like middle of the road quad core, but just now it's only getting where it can't handle the video compared to, like a few years ago. I could run everything flat out. And I think the video card cost me around 250, 300, somewhere in there. The motherboard around the same, about 199, 250, something like that. So when you add it all up, it's about like 800, 900, somewhere in there for that. I'm thinking more like 900. And a new computer if I bought a computer that that was already made, or even if I did it myself and I had to buy the case and all that stuff, I would be in the 1700 range. If I was going to buy a computer that would be comparable to what I can build, it would be in the $3,000 range, or 3 or 4,000. So I'm talking about making a computer and spending only maybe 900. But if you went and bought one comparable at Best Buy or something, it would cost you around 3,000 for something comparable. And that's why people come to me and have me build them computers. For around $1,200, $1,300. I could build them from, everything, the tower, all the stuff. And I could build a pretty good computer where they could run the settings flat out in their games and stuff like that. So, yeah. Any advice on encountering bears? Yeah, if you want to encounter one, there's a really good way, and that's leave food out. Leave your food out. Like cook some bacon. Actually, that'll bring Bigfoot in too. Cook some bacon. That's worked for us a few times. They aren't around, nothing's happening, and then we cook up some bacon. Next thing we know, there's hooting and a hollering and snapping and things getting thrown at the tent and everything. And it's all from bacon, man. Bacon, the smell just is like wild. But yeah, let me see. Can I give you a t-shirt and mugs? Maybe for Christmas. We'll have to see. Okay, we'll see, and I'll let you know. Let's see. Bacon would bring, yeah, it brings me in too, man. The smell of bacon brings me in. But I didn't want to stay on very long. I thought I would come on, ask everybody to come up with some names, put them in the chat, come up with ideas on ways to sell these things that makes it fair for everyone. Because I mean, there's a box full of stuff. I mean, I have posters, signed posters, and signed books, and a lot of really cool stuff, you guys, that people have sent me, and like Pam and Chuck and Arlo, Tony Spirit Feather. I mean, you guys are one great. I can't believe it. I'm pinching myself every day. I can't believe it. I mean, I want to do right by you guys so bad, and then I want to have the right name too. Like, it kind of seems weird. I mean, the other night when I was taking the calls and we're talking about everything, and I'm looking at this thing saying Squatch Zone, and I'm like, that don't match what we're doing. It doesn't match. I mean, we talk a little bit about the Squatch Zone, but we're not flat out squatching it here. Okay, Ayotti, you can be my right hand man. Okay. Let's see what I think. You think the bears are cool, and you want good footage of the bears? Yeah, but bears can smell food for like 5 miles or more if the wind direction's right. And like the only way I ever was able to get a bear to come in, and first you have to know where the bears are, almost like the Bigfoot thing. Bears aren't everywhere, then they run solo, and usually, like, the best way to find where they are is just kind of drive around, and look for bear sign. And once you find a place where you find some scat fresh, bear tracks fresh, then that's where you want to hang out. And then you want to leave, like do some cooking, and then don't leave the bacon right in your camp. You know what I mean? And you could even hang it in a tree where they can't get it, but they could smell it, and they'll go over there. They'll still come around looking for the food because they can smell it, but they can't get to it. So it's kind of safe, but always be ready to protect yourself with a bear. And then remember that bears, if you're within 100 yards of a bear, and I don't care if it's uphill, downhill, side hill, flat ground, they can overtake you. If you start running and they're 100 yards away, they can overtake you and get you. So just remember that. Bears can overtake you at 100 yards. They could be 100 yards away, and they could overtake you running. So, yeah. It could be, like, what state are you in? I've been hearing the bears. A lot of people don't see bears. Most of the time, you just see the tracks and the scat and stuff like that, and or where they're like they tear up stumps and stuff looking for grubs and termites and bugs and stuff like that. So yeah, oh, there's bears here, man. There's bears over here. I have some pictures I could share with you of tracks fresh that were like, we came in the morning, and they were going through there, like the day before. I mean, they were real fresh. So they're in California for sure, and I even have pictures of game camera pictures of them, hundreds of game camera pictures of bears. I have them with mother bears, with baby bears. There's bears. Believe me, there is. I don't know where Clark Fork is, but Central California, there's bears. Believe me, there is. How's it going, Brown Dwarf? I'm sure he could tell you about some bears. Brown Dwarf, he's up there like northern central California, I think. Um, I I've a lot of times bears you can they don't like people and they won't attack you normally. Usually that's why you don't see them. They smell you or hear you before they get near you, and they'll hightail it out of there before you're even close to them because they don't like people. The only time you really got to worry about a bear is if you have food out and they're hungry. They'll tear your car open to get to it too, and your camper or what. So it's really good to hang the food up or have it where it's like they can't smell it because that's the only. And then the other time is a baby bear and a mama bear. You never ever want to get between the mama bear and the baby bear. Even if you like, I've seen like when I lived in Yosemite, I seen people walking on a path, and I seen the mama bear, and I didn't even see the baby bear, right? And they're just walking down the path, and everything's cool, and then all of a sudden, the bear started chasing them. I mean, flat out, and it didn't seem like it wanted to get them too bad, but it sounded like it, but only know that they were close enough for the bear to get them if they wanted to. They were just kind of running him off. And then once they started chasing the person, and then all of a sudden this little baby bear comes out and is chasing the mom. I'm like, whoa, that's what happened with that. And I watched a guy run up the Merced River against a 40-mile-an-hour current. And the bear only ran out into the water and was slapping the water and roaring and stuff. But had that guy running, man, he turned white as the towel he was carrying, and he was flat moving. And he was going upstream. Yeah, in fact, I have, if you look on my YouTube channel, they have like a video that you put up that's like, I don't know, you're supposed to make a video and put it up there like telling about your channel or something. Only mine is with Jeffrey throwing things at the bear. Like I couldn't believe he was doing it, but the bear came in every night and Jeffrey was putting food out for the bear, for the Bigfoot, and the bear was coming and eating the food. And I had seen the bear earlier, and a couple of times, and when I said, "Hey, there's a bear," the bear heard me and ran off. And when everyone looked, they're going like, "There's no bear," and they were calling me. They were like, "You're seeing things, man. There's no bears," and it was right before dark, and I mean they were making fun of me and everything. Like there's no bear, there's no bear. But I was actually smelling it too. I could smell the bear, and I'm like, "There's a bear around here," and they're like, "No, there's no bear. There's no bear." And then later in the night, we hear all this noise and banging around, and we go outside, open up the door, and there's this bear climbing around in the pickup truck, and looking for some food, and then it jumps down and it runs over and it grabs some food and it takes off. And then a couple of minutes later, here it comes back, and it goes back to the Jeffrey's gifting Bigfoot food spot, grabs something else and takes off. And then Jeffrey runs out and starts throwing things at it, and he's trying to make it go, and he's throwing things in. I'm laughing, and I got the spotlight, and I'm spotlighting the bear and videotaping and videotaping Jeffrey throwing things at it. It was funny, man. Jeffrey's funny. That anybody else would have ran like screaming like a little girl to get away from that. And it was actually, the bear looked sick to me. Its coat was like not thick and stuff. So it was either really hungry or whatever. But Jerry like was chasing this bear, man. Yeah, that's right. And you know what? You know what else bear do? They they click their teeth when they get nervous, and or you're or being threatened by you, or you're too close or something like that. You hear that. You'll hear them doing that, and that's a bear. When you hear like teeth clacking or whatever you want to call that, that's a bear. You know, I don't know if Bigfoot do it, acting like bears. I'm not sure. I never seen one do it, and then I never seen a bear do it. All I know is I've heard that teeth thing and then seen the bear. You know what I mean? Like a little bit later, I seen the bear and heard him doing it while he was running away. Even though I couldn't see him, he was running in that direction. I could hear the teeth, you know, going. But yeah, you know, in Yosemite, when I lived in Yosemite, we there was bears everywhere. I mean, if you want to like get good tapes video of bears, go to Yosemite National Park. There's bears all over the freaking place over there, and I mean you can see them all day long and all night long. I don't know if they have the dump anymore, but you used to be able to go to the dump and there'd be like 40 or 50 bears out there tearing up the garbage, and we used to go out there and hang out. Everybody, I mean, there'd be like 50 cars, 60 cars all in a semicircle around the dump with their headlights on, and these bears were not paying attention to anyone, and they're just out there digging in the garbage. You know, it was pretty fun. When you're a little kid, it really leaves an impression on you. Let's see. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So what an incredible. Yeah, it was really cool. When we first moved up there to Yosemite, we you guys know what a Shasta trailer is, or a little camp trailer, like a 15-foot trailer. There was 5 kids. There was 5 of us, and my mom and dad, and we lived in this little trailer for like 3 months in this campground until they had our house ready to move into. And we were camping for 3 months. I mean, it was so fun. I mean, like, I know that it was like getting on the nerves of my parents being so cramped in that little camper with us, and having to deal with us, you know. Only we were having a blast, you know. We were like right there. When you step out the door, there was you know, the water, the Yosemite Falls and El Capitan. It was really cool, you know. We might be family. Nah, my dad wasn't a logger though. He was the bus driver. His run was from. He drove the Yosemite. I can't remember what the name of the bus was. It had a bear on it, Golden Bear. I think that's what it was, Golden Bear. But he would drive from Yosemite to Merced and back every day, like a couple times a day, and that's what he did there. And it was fun. I mean, like I seen some stuff about bears. Like one time, the because there was we were living in the campground, and there was a couple other families living in there too. You know, like seasonal workers. Even though my dad wasn't a seasonal worker, there was seasonal people that worked up there only in the summer. So there were seasonal people, but then they also a lot of campers would come in, and then the weekend it would like fill up, and people didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know like they didn't know what they were doing. That's all I could say. And they would leave their food out and stuff, and bears would come around. Like one time, they were barbecuing, and the lady had stuff in her tent, and she comes out of the tent carrying this bowl of, I guess, salad. I don't know what it was, but she was backing out of the tent, and a bear while she was in the tent, a bear was sniffing around her camp, and it comes around her tent, and we're all watching it, and we're all watching this bear, and it comes in, and it's sniffing around her tent, and it goes right to the tent door, and right as she's backing out, and she backs out right onto its face, like bent over, and the bear made like a huffing noise, and that lady tore her tent down trying to get away, and the bear about tore himself up trying to get out of there. It was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. It was like a funny movie or something. And then there was a time where this guy picked up a baby bear, right? It was a cute little baby bear. It was cinnamon color, and it was only like, it was little. It was maybe a week old, just a little bitty thing. And I mean, cute as could be. And he picked it up and he was petting it. And then all of a sudden, here comes the mama bear. And man, she was beside herself because he had her baby, and he was holding it. And the bear was going nuts, but it would not attack him as long as he had the baby bear. In fact, he was going to put it down and run, and this guy was so lucky. There was a ranger right there, and the ranger came up behind him and was standing next to him, and told him, don't put that baby down. Whatever you do, don't put it down. Let me go get my truck, And so they backed up. Backing up, and the bear was just pacing back and forth, only 2 feet in front of him, just ready to eat him alive. As soon as they dropped the baby bear, those guys are going to get it, And they backed up into the ranger truck, and the ranger opened up the door and told the guy to get in, and the guy got in with the baby bear, and then he says, hand me the bear, and as he went by him, the guy handed him the baby bear, and then he had the bear, and he's standing there, and he gets inside the truck and leaves the door open, and then he tosses the bear and, kind of rolls it on the ground and shuts his door and drives away, And the mama bear, first she checked her baby to make sure it was okay, and then went after the truck. But they zoomed away, and everybody else was running, even me. We were like, nobody wanted to be. I was like a good 200 yards away. I made sure I was not going to be like, I think that bear would have lashed out at anyone, man. It was so mad. And then there was another time, I'll tell you another bear story. I have a million of those, man. I mean, a million. But this is another one that really was interesting. They had they didn't have like bear-proof garbage cans back then. They had them chained down and stuff, but it was just regular tin garbage cans, And the baby bear somehow got the lid off the can and fell into the garbage can and was crying, And the mama couldn't figure out how to get the bear out of it. And the ranger came up driving in his truck, we went, me and I think my sisters, somebody went and got the ranger, and said there was a baby bear trapped in a garbage can. And here he comes, and he pulls up to the garbage can and he opens up the door and reaches down and picks up the bear. The mama bear goes nuts because he's picking up the bear. And then he drives a little ways, like 10 feet, opens up the door, drops the baby bear out, and then takes off, And that bear, man, it was going to get him, I mean, it was going after his truck, but it was more concerned about its baby, so it only ran like, 20 feet and then turned around back to the baby. But yeah, bears can be really a trip. They're dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. I'm seriously serious about that. One story about Yosemite. We used to watch the guys climb Yosemite El Capitan. And every day they would go a little higher, and they sleep. You could see the little glow on the side of the hill at night of all the guys up on the side of the rock, hanging there for the night. And right next to it, or right behind it, kind of off to the side of it, was Yosemite Falls. And at that time of the year, it was just roaring. I mean, like loud roaring. You could hear it for miles, this waterfall. And there's a trail right next to the waterfall that zigzags up, and you can walk that trail up to the top of it. And you could see people walking up, all the time. And one time I was just sitting there at the picnic bench, and I was watching these people walking, up the hill and everything. And then at the top, I seen a guy fall, and he was right at the top, like almost over the edge to the top, and he fell into the waterfall. I don't know what the heck he was doing. He had a red windbreaker on, and you could see the windbreaker, and then all of a sudden you couldn't see it, and then a little farther down you see the windbreaker, and then you couldn't see it, and he was going in and out, and he went down the falls, and needless to say, that guy didn't live. I mean, I don't know how far that waterfall falls, but he went all the way down, and you could see his red jacket going in and out of the fall, in and out all the way down until out of my view. And that's the main falls. And then if you hike in there, there's actually two waterfalls. There's the lower falls, and I heard he got caught in the rocks in between the two falls, in between the lower and the upper, and got caught in there. And then I don't know how many people drowned in the Merced River all the time. There was people that, I don't know what they're doing. I swam in it every single day, and I even saved a lady that drowned. But people are drowning, and sometimes they wouldn't find them. Like they would like fall in somewhere in the park, and then they wouldn't find them until like way down past El Portal, outside the park boundary, way down river, and they would be all beat up and their hair beaten off of them and stuff. I mean, they're all discolored and stuff. It nasty when you seen it, but it was like, what? I never knew how they wound up in the river, but usually it wasn't a good thing, if they couldn't swim or anything. But yeah, like one time I was swimming, and my grandfather came up, and he gave me some little flippers and a snorkel thing, so I had a little mask and a snorkel thing, and man, I was swimming all over, and it was the first time I ever seen a sturgeon. I think that's what they call them. It was like 10 feet long in the bottom of the river. I mean, I could see everything really clear. There was trout and all kinds of stuff, and then I seen these big old long fish in the bottom, and it was the very first hour that I had the darn thing, and I'm looking at these big sucker fish on the bottom of the river, sucking their way on the rocks, in the bottom of the river, like 10 feet long, 12 feet long. I didn't know I had no idea they were down there, And hi, Pam. I was saying thank you for everything. I'm telling everybody I got a bunch of stuff. Pam sent me a bunch of stuff. But anyways, I'm looking at these fish, and as I'm going, I'm like pulling myself along the side of the river, I'm not way out in the current where it's running like 40, 45 miles an hour. I'm like on the side, and I'm pulling myself along the side, and there was a stump, tree stump. The tree had been cut for the campground, but the stump was still there, and half the stump was in the river, and its roots were washed out, and the other half of the roots were stuck in the bank. So the stump was like hanging out a little bit. And I grabbed the root, and I was going around the root, and something, brushed against my face. And it was like, whoa, what was that? And I turned and looked, and there was a lady upside down, and it was her hair going like that in the river. And that's what brushed my face, and her eyes were open, and she was like staring blank looking. And I freaked out, man. I flew out of the river. I just went crazy, running up the bank, and I'm yelling for the ranger, and there there having to be two rangers on horseback, only like 20, 30, 40 yards, something like that. And I'm yelling, "There's a dead lady! There's a dead lady!" In the river. And one of them ran, and he took his gun belt off and handed it to his partner, and ran and jumped in the water and then pulled this lady out. And before you knew it, there was a whole crowd around him. And I just was like way back watching, because that scared the what right out of me, man. When seeing that face all and bobbing in the water, oh my God, I had nightmares over that. But they did CPR and they brought her back to life. She lived. And I was so happy, like yes, the lady lived. And then like 3 days later, the Rangers came and found me, and I have a picture of it on my Facebook, I think, and they're giving me a little certificate that made me a junior ranger, right? And a patch and a bunch of stuff, and then I can't remember everything, but only I was like famous with the Rangers. I saved the lady, and I never did see the lady again. She never came back. So I don't know how she's doing now. I know she was like a young lady, like maybe 18, 20 years old at the time, and I was only like 8. So she's now like an older lady, because I'm 58. Yeah. So it was like 50 years ago. So she's probably in her 70s or something like that now. But yeah, it was a trip, really a trip. Yeah, I seen a lot of people, drown in that one, and my dad and some of the other guys that worked there, when they were off duty, they were volunteers, so because they didn't have like paid staff to go, you know, save people. So everybody was volunteer firemen and stuff like that. So they got called anytime somebody fell in the river and drowned, and there was a lot of them. Oh, here I go. I'm starting to do the spin on the circle thing. Hopefully my voice is still going. But yeah, that's my stories of Yosemite. And I want to say again, I want to change now that everybody's on. And I want to change the name. We're not the Squatch Zone. I'm realizing last week when everybody was calling, I realized we're not the Squatch Zone. I mean, we are, but we're not. I thought I was only going to talk about Bigfoot, but my wheelhouse is bigger than Bigfoot. So, and I think everyone else is too. So I want to change the name, and I'll still have the Squatch Zone, but it'll be a category underneath. And so I'll have it set up in categories like UFOs, aliens, ghost, Bigfoot, or Squatch Zone, and I'll call it zones. You know what I mean? Each one will be a different zone. And actually it'll help me make stories in the zone. That's pretty good. I was thinking like chatting in the zone, because this is the whole thing is our chat thing, chatting in the zone. Somebody else was telling me like night chat in the zone. I've been talking to my friends, I'm telling them, man, I'm like a woman, huh? I keep on changing things. Like I'm changing the name as much as somebody's changing their clothes, or purses or shoes or whatever. Yeah. Stranger or wilder than fiction zone? That's interesting. The night crawlers. Okay, so nobody's seen them since. I have heard like a few reports that people have seen them, but I didn't talk to them, and like that was the from what I understand, the one time and the only time. Like I've heard that, and then you guys seen the picture of the big ones, the big tall ones. It's supposedly that is somewhere near Yosemite where they seen these big tall ones, walking that look like the night crawlers. Those are fake. They aren't real. And I don't know where the wood carving is, but so, that's all I know about the night crawlers. They were like a splash in the pan or a flash in the pan, whatever you want to call it. They haven't been out. In fact, the UFO sightings have kind of dropped off for a little while, and they're just now starting to pick back up again. And luckily I have friends that like Fresno Unexplained. I want to get hooked up with and help them with their thing. They're starting. They got some video, but I heard the video was kind of old, but it's still cool looking. It looks like it's a cigar looking thing. And so if you go to Fresno Unexplained, they have a really cool video of a cigar flying around. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Sweden, hey, long ways, long ways. Can you see the northern lights in Sweden? Because if you can, I'm gonna go visit you. You know, I never seen the northern lights in for reals. And that's something that's on my bucket list. I love the northern lights. You try to block them out. Oh, now I have. You're going to make me scroll back up and see what it is you're trying to block out. Oh, the night crawlers. Yeah, the night crawlers are like, that was a weird thing. We did go talk to that guy. He only spoke Spanish. And I want you to know, though, that they did some shows on him, like Factor Faked, I think came out. And they, what they said about it is fake. Okay. And they're really fact. It was a real thing. But only when Factor Fake did the cable show on the night crawlers, everything they said about it is fake. Where they even said it was is fake. They have it all the way across town from where it actually happened. So they're fake. Factor faked. And they're faked. It's faked and all fake. Yeah. I remember the Northern Lights. I lived in the foothills at that time when they had the Northern Lights. I mean, you could see them here in California, but it wasn't like how you see them in Alaska or in the real northern areas. It was just like long streaks in the sky, and that was about it. But I was out every night watching it, and I watched the hail bop go by and took pictures and all that. And there was like several comments. We're kind of like, isn't it kind of cool? We're living in a time when a bunch of things are happening. And when that one comet broke up and then smashed into Jupiter, nobody in the world up until now, this time, would be able to see that. I mean, it maybe happened a bunch of times in history, but nobody knew because nobody could see it. But now we can see those things now. And isn't it interesting to live in this time that we live in? Like I was flying to Florida, and the pilot said we're at 35,000 feet or 38,000 feet, something like that, like up there, And I was sitting there thinking, Now I've flown all over the place. Like I love flying, right? I've hot air ballooned. I've flown in old planes. I've flown in jets, like fighter jets, old fighter jets, old warbirds. I mean, I wanted to be a pilot when I was little. That's what I wanted to be, was a pilot. And that's one thing that I regret. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff. I've been all over the world. That's one regret, is I can't be a pilot now. And I should have went after that and became a pilot. I'm just glad I flew. I went flying all over the place. But I have flew, like I held the controls while we were in the air, but I never landed or took off or never had a license. But I'm flying, to Florida to see my aunt, and way up there, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm thinking, I'm looking